in this activity, we're going to play around a bit with one of the on-board sensors of the microbit. The microbit is kind of nice in that it has a built-in accelerometer on it, and we can use that to cause other things to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little program that is going to change your LED light strips based upon the shaking of the microbit. Okay. So as always, anytime we have an LED strip, we're going to need to add our NeoPixel extension, and just again go to extensions, add NeoPixel, and a NeoPixel block will appear. Let's initialize that in our start block. Let me make our blocks a little bit bigger so we can see them a little easier. Okay. And we're going to install our LED strip in pin P0, and our LED strips have 30 LEDs. Alright, so now microbit's going to know that it's got an LED strip attached to it. Now let's think about acceleration. Now acceleration is one of these concepts that we're going to hit when we hit force and motion, and we talk about what does it mean to accelerate, and its relationship to mass and its relationship to force. As we know, force equals mass times acceleration. And when we're beginning to think about it in terms of our microbit, we're going to need to think about it in 3 dimensions, right? We have X, which is our flat plane. We have Y, and then we have Z, which is the spatial component. So we've got X kind of goes right to left, Y goes front to back, Z goes up and down. Right? So those are our 3 dimensions. And so each one has an acceleration, and we can detect that via the microbit functions. And so what we're going to need to do is we're going to set some variables, and I'm just going to call them X, Y, and Z for reasons that they align with our X, Y, and Z on the microbit. So I'm going to call a variable X, I'm going to make a variable Y, and I'm going to make a variable Z. So that's our X, Y, and Z variables. Now, remember, when we make a variable, it's going to create this block called set. So let's drag 3 of those. And you can control C and control V, these guys. And I'm going to play with each one of these. So we're going to need our X variable, and we're going to need our Y variable. And what are we going to set it to? Well, one of the nice things that microbit has built in is this input block that we haven't used yet. And so, you know, now as you go down through, you play with buttons, if button A is pressed, etc., things like that. But look, there's an acceleration. Alright, we are going to change that. Alright, and we can pop that in, and now I can change the same thing. I'm going to put another input in. I am going to have my acceleration to be Y, and I'm going to have my acceleration for Z to be Z. Okay, so now what this is doing is this is correlating your acceleration to this variable X. Okay, now let's play around with our NeoPixel a little bit. Okay, so let's go into our NeoPixel. I am going to first clear my strip. Okay. Now I'm going to go in, and I am going to set my LED strip to different colors. So let's set strip, show color. Now, remember under our NeoPixel that there were, under that more block, oops, there was this red, green, and blue, and those would change to colors. Alright, so what we can do is we can change those to the variables X, Y, and Z. Right? And now I'm going to go to my LED, my NeoPixel again, LED, and I'm going to say strip, show. and that's going to force it to show. Now if I download this to my microbit, okay, download's completed. Right, my LED strip will change based upon how much I shake it. Okay, and now notice it changes fairly fast, so if we want it to change some of this speed, right, we could change this down. Okay, and as opposed to having this be X, Y, and Z, we could have alright, NeoPixel say, let's show strip color variable X, okay, and then it's going to read whatever number that is. Then I could maybe put in a pause statement, a little bit, and then we could do another one. Okay, we could change this to be Y. Alright, and I can do a pause statement again. Okay, there we go. And now let's get rid of those just so they're out of the way. So now I've got strip show color X, strip show color Y, pause, pause, and let's make sure that we put in strip show under each one of those just to force the LED strip to change, because again, remember, sometimes the LED strip gets stuck, and so the strip show forces it to show the previous line. So let's download that. Okay. So now as I move it, I can change the colors. Right. In fact, now if I just let it sit there, it's going to move a little bit because it's sliding on my table. Right. Alright. Now, what we'll do next is you guys can play with this. But again, what usually is a good option here is, we've used a map tool in previous ones, is you can map this acceleration to 0 to 255, right? So you can create a little function, and we'll do that in the next video.